President Yoon back in Seoul from his state visit to the U.S., bringing home a nuclear partnership with Washington along with investment deals. We break down the outcome. South Korea's major economic pillar exports falls for the 7th consecutive month on slumping chip demand. And Tottenham Hotspur's Heung-min scores his 10th English Premier League goal of the season. Good afternoon. President Yoon is back in Seoul from his state visit to the U.S. Dubbed the Washington Declaration, a new Seoul-Washington nuclear partnership is one of the key outcomes of the visit, along with investment deals. Our presidential office correspondent Oh Soo-young wraps up his major achievements.
Touching down in Seoul on Sunday afternoon, President Yoon returned from his official U.S. visit with a number of agreements aimed at broadening and deepening the 70-year alliance. The most notable outcome was the Washington Declaration, a separate document he produced with Joe Biden following their summit. To address North Korea's growing nuclear threat, the declaration reaffirmed Washington's extended deterrence commitment to defending its ally. It also established a nuclear consultative group to provide Seoul with more insights on how the US plans and acts upon the use of nuclear weapons. Critics, however, say the consultative group may fall short of expectations, as US officials say they do not consider the new body a form of nuclear sharing with the South, like its arrangement with NATO. On the economic front, Yoon's biggest task was addressing concerns about America's industrial guardrails against China and tax credit policies hurting South Korean chip and automakers. Without immediate solutions, the two sides agreed to mitigate uncertainty for the South Korean firms through close consultations in light of the Inflation Reduction Act and the CHIPS Act. Calling himself South Korea's #1 salesman, Yoon held a number of roundtables and business events, garnering some $5.9 billion in investment from US firms including Netflix. Some 50 MOUs were signed among the over 120 corporate leaders who made up his business delegation, focusing on the high-tech and bio sectors, agreeing to join together across all crucial strategic technologies, from semiconductor supply chains to the research and development of quantum and space tech. Yoon and Biden established a National Security Council-level economic dialogue and reaffirmed their commitment to developing the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. President Yoon also pushed to make South Korea a more active player in global governance.
Mr. President, your principled leadership has helped bring us even closer together and has made Korea a global pivotal state.
In a speech to Congress, the first in 10 years for a South Korean leader, and in his unprecedented lecture at Harvard Kennedy School, Yoon pledged South Korea, as a past recipient of international support during and after the Korean War, will stand up for freedom and liberal democracy around the world. Yoon's official state visit having set the blueprint for the bilateral alliance and expanding value-based friendship. The president's mission now is to turn his stateside pledges into tangible outcomes for the South Korean public. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.
President Yoon could be looking at another summit with his Japanese counterpart early this month. This time, it will be in Seoul, as Prime Minister PM Kishida is reportedly planning a trip to South Korea's capital as the two nations seek to build momentum in improving bilateral relations. Multiple Japanese media outlets over the weekend have reported that Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida is planning to visit South Korea early this month, with the Asahi Shimbun reporting the trip could come as early as May 7th to 8th. The visit reciprocates South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol's visit to Tokyo in March, which the two leaders defined as a breakthrough in mending bilateral relations that have been strained over historical issues. Seoul's presidential office has made no official comment on the meeting. Being the first visit by a Japanese leader in over 5 years, it will also mark the resumption of regular reciprocal trips that were pledged during the last summit. In yet another back-to-back meeting in the same month, President Yoon is also poised to visit Hiroshima to attend the Group of 7 summit as a guest from May 19th to 21st. The latest developments come as Seoul and Tokyo have been picking up momentum in their bilateral ties. Seoul has restored Japan to its wide list of preferential trading partners, with Tokyo also having started its own process to do the same. The move also comes as the two nations seek to ramp up trilateral cooperation with Washington against North Korea, which was specifically highlighted during President Yoon's state visit to the U.S., which wrapped up just this weekend. The upcoming G7 summit will likely see a three-way meeting between the leaders. Against its backdrop, bilateral cooperation on defense and stabilizing the chip supply chain are likely to top the agenda. Ukraine is gearing up for a spring counteroffensive against Russian forces, saying its latest attack on a Russian military oil depot is part of the preparations. Our Choi Soo-hyung has the latest.
Ukraine is preparing for its spring counteroffensive, with Kyiv's defense minister Oleksiy Reznikov recently announcing that preparations for the counteroffensive are almost complete. On Sunday, a massive fire broke out at an oil depot in Russian-controlled Crimea. Natalia Humeniuk, a spokesperson for the Ukrainian Army of Southern Command, said that the attack on an oil depot was carried out by the Ukrainian military. She added that the destruction of the Russian military's fuel depot was one of the preparations for that large-scale counteroffensive that everyone is waiting for. However, Mark Galeotti, a Russia security expert from the UK, warned in a Sunday Times article on Saturday that while Ukraine may show confidence in its counteroffensive against Russia, it should be cautious because ammunition and supplies such as shells are running out faster than expected. He also warned that Ukraine may face difficulties due to Russia's fortified defenses. Russia appears to have already fortified its defenses in preparations for any counteroffensive. Recently, satellite images have shown that the Russian military has built large fortresses and minefields in the southern region of Ukraine, which is expected to be the main target of Ukraine's counteroffensive. Breaking through Russia's defense network could be a daunting task for Ukraine. Choi Soo-hyung, Arirang News.
Today, May 1st, is Labor Day here in South Korea. It's a government-designated paid holiday for workers in the country, but 3 out of 10 will still be working today. In a recent survey by South Korea Job Search Service, include 30.4% of workers in South Korea responded they have to work on May 1st. Nearly 60% of the respondents who said they have to work said they're involved in small businesses with less than 5 regular employees. Public servants and school teachers also have to work on this day. Turning over to grim economic figures for the domestic economy, South Korea's major economic pillar exports continues to fall for the 7th consecutive month on slumping chip demand. Our Lee Soo-jin tells us more.
South Korea's exports continued to fall short of its imports last month. Data from the Trade Ministry released on Monday shows that exports fell more than 14% on year to around $50 billion in April. Monthly exports have seen an on-year decline since October last year. This is largely driven by the slump in the demand for chips, the nation's key export item. Exports of semiconductors last month were down over 40% compared to the previous year, recording an on-year decline since last August. The nation's outbound shipments to China and the ASEAN region both tumbled more than 26%, both areas where a large share of exports consist of semiconductors. The Trade Ministry said that the on-year decline in April's exports is also partly due to the base effect, as last year's exports were the highest ever for the month of April. Meanwhile, imports came to more than $52 billion, down 13.3% compared to the previous year. The drop was mostly due to the value of energy imports falling more than 25.8% on lower global energy prices. Imports, however, of items crucial to the nation's high-tech industry, such as semiconductor equipment and secondary battery materials, rose. This brought the nation's trade balance last month to a deficit of around $2.6 billion. The country has logged a trade deficit since March last year, the longest streak since the 1997 Asian financial crisis. But the monthly trade deficit, which reached over $12 billion in January, is now getting smaller. Last month was the first month since June last year that the deficit fell below the $2 billion mark. The Trade Ministry said that it will focus on finding and investing in promising items that could strengthen exports. 이수진, Arirang News.
Sales of eco-friendly cars in South Korea increased by 43% on-year in the first quarter. According to the Korea Automobile Manufacturers Association on Monday, nearly 100,000 eco-friendly vehicles were sold in the January to April period. Hybrid electric vehicles were sold most popular due to lower costs and the lack of charging stations, with more than 60,000 cars sold during this period. The association expects sales for eco-friendly cars to keep rising, with new models set for release this year from Hyundai Motor, Kia, and KG Mobility. Until last month, those traveling to South Korea had to fill out and submit their customs declaration form, regardless of whether they had something to declare or not. But from today, this is no longer necessary. Our Song Yoo-jin explains.
From Monday, travelers entering South Korea will have one fewer form to fill out. Those who have nothing to declare will no longer have to fill out a customs declaration form, whether they arrive by plane or boat. Previously, all travelers had to complete the form on paper or on their mobile phone, then wait in long lines to submit them, regardless of whether they had anything to declare. According to data from the Korea Customs Service, in 2019, 98.8% of travelers had nothing to declare but had to wait to submit their customs forms. Under the new changes, travelers carrying goods worth over $800, more than $10,000 in cash, more than 2 bottles of liquor, or more than 60 millimeters of perfume will have to fill out the form. Arrival halls will be separated into 2 lanes, nothing to declare and goods to declare. And from July, travelers with something to declare will be able to go through the customs process faster by using the Korea Customs Service's mobile app. They can submit the customs form and pay their taxes right away through the app. Currently, travelers must go through customs inspection after submitting their forms, get their tax calculated, receive the bill, and pay their taxes. The government hopes this simplified process will make travel easier for the more than 43 million people traveling to Korea every year and ultimately boost tourism. 송유진, Arirang News.
Starting Monday, South Korea will see tighter regulations for housing rental deposit insurance policies, following a series of fraud cases linked to the country's unique housing rental system called jeonse. Among the changes is the lowering of the guarantee insurance threshold by the state-owned Korea Housing and Urban Guarantee Corporation to 90% from 100% of the housing price. The government says the stricter measures are an effort to prevent further damage stemming from jeonse, where a large lump sum payment is deposited for a fixed period before being returned at the end of the contract. People who have already signed up for the insurance and are renewing their contracts will have the current 100% rate until the end of this year. Tottenham Hotspur forward Heung-min scored his 10th EPL goal of the season on Sunday, scoring double digits in the league for the 7th straight season. Our Lee Seung-jae has more on Sunday's milestone.
In an epic match between Tottenham Hotspur and Liverpool at Anfield Stadium on Sunday, South Korean national football team captain Heung-min scored Spurs' second goal in the 77th minute as the visitors worked to recover from finding themselves 3-0 down after 15 minutes. Despite a dramatic equalizer for Tottenham in the 3rd minute of injury time, Liverpool came out on top, winning 4-3 thanks to Diogo Jota's winner just a minute later. However, despite the defeat for Sonny, the goal against Liverpool was his 10th league goal of the season, and this means that for the 7th straight season, he has scored at least 10 goals. Having made his Tottenham debut in 2015, Son has scored at least 10 league goals each season starting in the 2016-2017 campaign. That includes his Golden Boot-winning 2021-2022 season, where he netted 23 goals to tie with Mohamed Salah of Liverpool as the Premier League's top marksman. Son also has 145 goals in all competitions for the club, making him the 6th most prolific scorer in the team's history. He'll now have his eye on passing club legend Cliff Jones, who is 5th on the leaderboard with 154 Tottenham goals. However, for Son, more important than his latest milestone is his team finishing in the top 4 this season to earn a spot in next season's Champions League. With 4 more league matches remaining this season, Spurs trail 4th-place Manchester United by 9 points, and with the Champions League spot still mathematically possible, they'll need results elsewhere to go their way. However, Liverpool leads Tottenham by 2 points with 5 more matches to play, while United has 6 more games, leaving Sonny and his Tottenham teammates with a tough task ahead. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Here in the country, operating small smart farms is trending as a new post-retirement profit-making activity. Our Chung Eun-ju has the story.
Ginseng sprouts grow in this 26-square-meter greenhouse. It can be seen as a smaller version of a smart farm. Everything from temperature and humidity to water and liquid fertilizing is managed automatically. Music is also played to help the plants grow. The farmer has been retired for 2 years, but these small smart farms enable him to continue to earn money. It costs him around 1 billion won to operate 20 small smart farms. His monthly income is around 30 million won.
With these smart farms, I come for a bit and get done what I need to fairly easily, but my income has gone up considerably.
This is a company in Gyeongsangnam-do province that manufactures small smart farms. It provides overall smart farm services such as manufacturing equipment, seedling supply, crop purchasing, and distribution. Sales in 2019 were around 2.2 billion won and recorded 32 billion won last year. That's a 15-fold increase in just 3 years. It also means that more people are now operating small smart farms.
We get so many retirees, many actually retire early. They come to our smart farm after contemplating about what to do after retirement.
The global smart farm market size last year was 482 trillion won. The South Korean market is predicted to grow to more than 5 trillion won by 2024. More people preparing for life after retirement are expected to increase their interest in small smart farms. Chung Eun-ju, Arirang News.
Let's take a look at what's going on in the world now. We begin in India's northern Punjab state, where at least 11 people, including women and children, have been killed in a gas leak. A further 9 people have been hospitalized. The gas leak in the city of Ludhiana on Sunday morning local time is suspected of coming from a nearby factory. Authorities say it's likely the gas was a lethal mix of methane or gas contamination that spread via manholes, affecting residents within a 300-meter radius. The area has since been evacuated, and police in protective gear are conducting search and rescue operations. The incident comes 3 years after a gas leak near a chemical plant in Andhra Pradesh killed 11 people and hospitalized 800 with breathing difficulties and irritated skin. Moving over to the United States, where authorities are hunting for a suspect accused of fatally shooting 5 people, including an 8-year-old child. According to the FBI, 38-year-old Francisco Oropeza is armed and highly dangerous. He is alleged to have killed his neighbors in Cleveland, Texas on Friday night local time. The neighbors had reportedly asked him to stop shooting his gun in his yard as they were trying to put a baby to sleep. Authorities say that Oropeza, in response, loaded his AR-15 rifle, walked into the neighbor's home, and shot those who were killed at close range. 10 people were at the property at the time. At least 200 officers are looking for the suspect, and there's an $80,000 reward for information leading to his arrest. Taking a look at Twitter now, CEO Elon Musk announced on Saturday that as of May, media publishers will be able to charge users on a per-article basis, which can be paid with a single click. This means that users will be able to read articles from publishers they are not subscribed to. Musk has described it as a win-win for both the public and media organizations. The new feature's exact rollout date is still unknown, and Musk has not said how much commission Twitter plans to take. Some have said the move could lead to more clickbait headlines, but others have welcomed it as an alternative to full-time media subscriptions. The new feature comes amid a series of changes at Twitter meant to make the social media platform profitable. And finally, an ultramarathon runner in Bulgaria's capital Sofia has locked himself in a glass box for the next 15 days. Krasa Georgiev began the charity stunt on Sunday local time and now only has access to a bed and a treadmill. He has no computer, phone, or any access to books, and he can only speak to the public for 30 minutes per day. The extreme athlete calls the stunt a psychological experiment meant to raise awareness and funds to fight addictive behavior among under-18s. Georgiev has run 30 ultramarathons worldwide, from the Arctic to Cambodia. Matthew Ashley, Arirang News.
Good afternoon. It's great weather for outdoor activities. Such a refreshing start to the new month for most parts of the country. And we are seeing a natural green background with flowers in full bloom. It is a pleasant Labor Day with big gaps in readings across much of Korea. However, Chungcheongdo provinces and some southern regions had bad dust levels this morning, but air quality will improve as the day goes on, while the rest of the country will have good air quality all day today. Most areas are seeing highs in the low 20s this afternoon under sunny skies nationwide. Meanwhile, a dry advisory has been issued in east of Gangwon-do province with strong winds expected in the area. Temperatures rise further tomorrow and they will stay warmer than average throughout the week. Then there's a chance of rain on Thursday on the south coast and Jeju Island. Then Children's Day this Friday looks to be a cloudy one. And Saturday marks Ippa, the beginning of summer on the seasonal calendar. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the international weather conditions.
Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of the day.